Hey, welcome to the Social 333 podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bentley. Today, my guest is Menina Fortunato.
Yes, you said that right.
Yes. Awesome. On like the seventh try, but I got it.
Oh, you got it.
So tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
All right. My name is Menina Fortunato is my full name. I'm a dance mentor. I specialize in helping dancers create their dream dance careers by teaching them the business side of dance. However, I didn't start off as a mentor. I was a professional dancer. I grew up as a young dancer in my father's dance studio. I became a professional dancer in LA, working with Britney Spears, Paula Abdul, Beyoncé, Earth, Wind & Fire, ZZ Top, Carmen Electra, Carrie Underwood, Luke Bryan, to name a few. I've been on shows like America's Got Talent and Star Trek Enterprise and Alias and Dance Moms, and I had a wonderful performing career. And then I started having babies. I have 3 kids now. I'm married, and that's when things started to pivot. I started my company, Menina Entertainment, 2009, and I was producing dance events. The Hollywood Summer Tour was my first baby before I actually had real human babies. And I was producing annual dance events in LA, helping dancers really experience the commercial dance industry in LA, how to get agents, taking classes, photo shoots, video shoots, etc. And that was my main bread and butter for a good decade. And then 2020 happened. That was a huge wake up, shake up. I mean, I think everybody in business felt it. But suddenly I wasn't able to produce dance events. I wasn't able to teach. I wasn't able to perform. I wasn't able to produce anything. I wasn't able to travel for a period. And on top of that, I had baby number 3 of April of 2020. So that added a little bit more of a challenge. So I'm stuck at home with my husband, 3 kids, 2 dogs, cannot work, and everybody was pivoting online. And like many of us, we were kind of just flying by the seat of our pants, and I didn't even know what Zoom was at the time. And I had to produce, I was supposed to do an in-person event, but I had to produce a virtual event for the first time. And that was kind of the first experience of, producing virtual events. And I didn't know what the next steps were. And I ended up creating a postnatal dance workout, program for moms. I was barely making $500 a month. And then 3 years ago, I started the Business of Dance, which is an online mentorship program. It's a coaching program for dancers. And that's been my focus ever since. And I went from $500 a month to building a 7-figure business. And here I am today.
That's really impressive.
Thank you.
So I want to back up a little bit.
Sure.
So I saw I heard some things, and then it really kind of piqued my interest. So you used to dance as the choreograph dance with Britney Spears and Beyonce and that kind of stuff.
I was not a choreographer for them, but I was a dancer for them. And I did the Pepsi Super Bowl commercials. Really? I don't know if you remember 20 years ago, 2002 was the Pepsi commercials that I did with Britney. And I did the NBA All-Star halftime show with Beyonce when she was a breakout solo artist for Crazy in Love. My first tour was with Earth, Wind & Fire. Actually, I performed here in Dallas.
Wow.
With them 2003 maybe. So dance was always my first love, my passion. And to be honest, I've never done anything outside of dance. I've never had a 9-to-5 job. I don't even know what that's like. I've just had to have constantly pivoted to the different seasons of life. Mm-hmm. With, obviously having my first child, that was I was literally on tour till 4 months pregnant. And then I was like, okay, now what? What do I do here? And I created a prenatal dance DVD that's on Amazon, so, and then I started going into production. So I've kind of, I have this motto that life is a dance. When you hit a roadblock, you just learn how to kickball, change, and pivot. And my entire life has been a kickball, change, and pivot.
Yeah, me too. And it continues on.
I think every entrepreneur can relate.
Yeah. Tell me about, just because I'm a dude, I don't really know that much about dance at all. Yeah. And I can kind of see how it kind of relates to, or it kind of mirrors a lot of the young ladies that are looking to maybe model, but they don't have the dance moves. And it's kind of like the vice versa. It's just a lot of women, well, maybe they do have the looks, but they just have a lot of dance. I know not Paula, but J-Lo got like her start from dancing in Living Color?
Yep, she was a dancer first, and then she got the big Selena breakout role, and then that kind of ignited her singing career, and then the acting, and now she's a multi-million-dollar empire. But yeah, dance for a lot of people is kind of the springboard to a lot of people's careers. Even Derek Huff, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was on Dancing with the Stars. He's the new host of Extra now. He replaced Mario Lopez. Wow. So a lot of dance people, a lot of people that in the limelight, if you don't know their backstory, there's a lot of starting dancers that lead to other evolutions. And for me, it led me to business. For
young ladies that are out there, maybe women, I know like a lot of cheerleaders kind of do the choreograph and dancing stuff like that as well. I don't, like I said, I'm a dude. I don't really know that much about it. And guys.
My husband was a professional dancer.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. He worked with Janet Jackson and Michael Jackson and Mariah Carey and Will Smith. So don't sleep on the guys. There are some.
What is really like the business side of it?
So I found, at least, the biggest problem that I saw is there's so many talented dancers out there. And I think you can apply that to any sport, athletic, artists, singers, dancers. Talent is only a part of the equation. And one thing that I've realized, even with my own career, because I was never the most talented dancer. I was like the third place kid growing up in competitions. But what will set someone up for success is really understanding the business side. And I felt like that was the big gap, because even dancers that train their whole life and they graduate high school were taught to go to school, you get good grades and you get a degree. So parents would send their kids off to college, they get their dance degrees, and then they graduate with this piece of paper and they still have no idea what they're doing, because what they teach in school and in the dance studios is the art and the skill of dance. But how do you monetize that? How do you actually create a career out of it? What marketing assets do you need? Headshots, resumes, creating a website, building a personal brand, setting up your socials, building casting profiles, how to do self-tape auditions, how to do basic photo editing or basic video editing so you can submit yourself for jobs, understanding that contacts equals contracts, how to actually build those relationships, because I would say 90% of the work, at least in the dance world, I mean in life too, is built through relationships. And then we touch on life skills, anything from taxes to finances, nutrition, mindset. So I take a real holistic approach with my mentees. So I don't actually teach them dance in my program. They already do 1 million hours a week of dance. I'm not trying to replace that, but this is kind of a nice supplement to their education so that they can understand what steps are needed if they actually want to turn this into a career. And it's not even just for the dancers, it's for the parents too, because if, any parent listening has a kid in sports, or a dance or any type of activity, they're just throwing money away, thousands of dollars every year. Well, for what? What's the end goal? Mm-hmm. Like, what is this just for fun? Is this just for physical activity? Or maybe this is actually their passion. They could actually turn that into a career. So that's where I come in, as I really help them bridge that gap from being the talented dancer to actually creating opportunities for themselves and booking jobs.
I had a question about like just the stuff that you're doing for professional dancing and like Beyonce and Britney Spears. How close do you get to
these people,
to the stars? Or is it kind of like you guys do the choreograph stuff and then it's like, okay, then the star appears, they do their thing and then they go away and then you guys are left behind?
There's both. It depends on the job. Like Beyonce, I had no one-on-one interaction with her because we rehearsed separately. And then when we got to, it was the Staples Center, now the Crypto Arena in LA. When we got to the venue, there was at least 100 people during tech rehearsal between the dancers and the crew and everyone. So everybody's on their mark. So you can't just stop rehearsal to be like, hey, I'm just going to go chit chat with Beyonce and take a selfie. Like you have to be on your mark. And then when it's tech rehearsal's done, she's escorted off to wherever her dressing room is. And then we have to go to our dressing rooms. So in a situation like that, I didn't get a chance to interact with her one-on-one. Britney Spears, on the other hand, I spent 10 days with her. So I did get to talk to her. Cool. And her mom was on set and her sister Jamie Lynn was actually part of the commercial. So we did chit chat and we did take photos. Earth, Wind & Fire, for example, I was on tour with them for a year. So they became like family. So that was a totally different relationship. So we were rehearsing together, we're traveling together, we're on tour buses together. We're even going sightseeing and doing tourist stuff on our off days together. So depending on the job, depending on the length of the job, will affect the interaction that you have. Like, I was Jennifer Garner's dance double on Alias, for example. That was just a 1-day shoot. So I only spent the 1 day with her, but she was really personable. Because I was her double, we were dressed exactly alike. We had the wigs, everything. And she invited me into her dressing room. It was Valentine's Day. She was dating Ben Affleck at the time. And, we were just talking about like, oh, what are your plans for tonight? And my boyfriend and I are doing this, da, 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 da. So it was like really personal. She was very warm, and I didn't feel like I'm the celebrity and you're just my double kind of connection. So every celebrity that I've ever worked with, it's a different relationship, and it really just depends on the type of work and the length of work that will determine, what kind of access or not access that you're able to have.
That's really cool, because I could see myself like just kind of, and I'm sure a lot of other people are the same way, like kind of just freeze, like, oh, that's Britney, or like, oh, that's Beyonce.
You get used to it, and as my mentor likes to say, everybody poops. So,
right. It's the same, right?
So we're all human. Yeah, okay, they make a little bit more money than we do, but they're humans at the end of the day, and they have hard days like we do, and they have, I don't know. I've just learned that they are humans, and I think we have created this stigma that because they are who they are, that they're untouchable, and that. I mean, sure, I would get excited. Like, I was so excited when I booked the Britney Spears job. I remember jumping up and down like, oh my God, I get to dance for Britney Spears. This was like at the time of the height of her career. So yeah, I got excited, but the moment I meet them, then I treat them just like any other human. Once I get the selfie and the little photo, of course I'm proud to show it to family and friends. Like, look who I just worked with today. So I'll be a little, kiddie after and before, but at the time I'm going to treat them like a regular human. But now, honestly, I've worked and interacted with so many high profile people that, I don't know. I mean, sure, I get excited if I meet somebody new that I admire, but I don't panic or faint or freak out or stumble on my words.
Yeah, that's how I am. I've met a lot of people, and like maybe not to that degree, but to the same idea. I'm just like, oh, like cool, like you're just a normal person.
Yeah.
You just drink Starbucks just like me.
Yeah. Like just before here, I just had a session with Kenzie. You probably have no idea who she is. Kenzie Ziegler. She's got like 14 million followers. She was on Dance Moms. And I had a Zoom call with her and one of my clients. And yeah, I'm like, she's got 14 million followers. You would think that she had this crazy life. And I was like, so how's your day? She's like, oh, it's pretty chill today. And I'm like, she was just in her home, and it was like just chill. Like it wasn't... I think people forget that they live normal lives too. Yes, some of them have extreme, like the Beyoncés and the Jay-Z's of the world. Yeah, they have private jets and they have exceptionally unusual lifestyles. But when you actually interact with people like that, sometimes you realize they're just normal. Yeah, they're just hardworking people that make a lot of money.
Talk to me about the Hollywood Summer Tour. That looks really cool.
So the Hollywood Summer Tour, I like to call it my first baby, because when I was at the height of my dance career, because I'm Canadian, that's another thing too, I was one of the few of my generation that actually moved to Hollywood and, tried to build a career. So it became, and this was before social media, before we had access to the information that we have today. So naturally people were like, well, how do you do what you do? And like, what photographer should I shoot with? How do I get an agent? People were just naturally asking me questions. And I was just giving free advice initially. And it was actually someone that I was teaching a workshop in LA. She was like, you should like sell this information and like show people how to create a career. And I was like, you know what, that's a good idea. So I'm probably one of the first that ever created this type of concept, but I do 1 to 2 week programs where I bring in dancers. It's invitation only. It's a small group environment. And I take them to all the different dance studios where they can train with all the big celebrity choreographers. And then they dance for agents. So I bring in all the major dance agents that they get to dance in front of, which is a rare opportunity. They get to do photo shoots. They get to do demo reel shoots. We shoot a music video. We've shot several at Universal Studios, Hollywood. We've done one at Paramount, at Venice Beach. So they get to be a part of a professional set and get to experience what it's like to actually dance if they were to dance professionally. And then we mix it up with some sightseeing. We go to Disneyland and Santa Monica Beach and Beverly Hills and Hollywood and Highlands. So it becomes a little vacation, dance education. And then we do some other seminars as well. So they get like a taste of what it could be like if they actually pursued this as a career, which then kind of, that's the reason why I birthed the business of dance, because the Hollywood Summer Tour is the what. I show you what you need to do. The business of dance is the how. Is how do you actually execute this? Because I tell them at the end of the Hollywood Summer Tour, you need headshots, you need resumes, you need itinerary, you need all these things. They're like, okay, great, but like, how do you do this? Mm-hmm. And the business of dance answers that, because it's a 6-month coaching program, whereas we can only teach so much in a week or 2 weeks, but in 6 months, we can really do a deep dive.
That's really, really cool. I'm thinking about some stuff. Like I used to be a bassist in a garage band. So
I love that.
So like you got the talent, but I was really thinking about like mixed martial arts. So I was doing jiu-jitsu and Thai fighting. And then it seems really, really cool what you're doing, because like they would have people come in and have like workshops with like some of the best of the best, and then you can go to Brazil or Thailand and train with like the best.
Just in Thailand,
yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Really?
So
did you like it?
Loved it. Oh, it was an amazing experience. I love the Thai massage. I love Thai food. I love their beaches. Love the tropical rainforest. That's a whole nother conversation. But I enjoyed my experience in Thailand.
Talk to me about the Super Bowl. How was that? Like.
So my mentees are the ones that have done Super Bowl. So I had one that did the Rihanna Super Bowl halftime show. I had 13 or 12 that did Usher.
Wow.
And I had 2 that just did Kendrick Lamar earlier this year. Mm-hmm. And for many of them, it was their first professional dance job.
Wow.
And I now have a connection to the casting for the halftime show. So now I'm able to refer dancers if they fit the requirements of what they're looking for. And they submit their self-tapes, and then many of them booked it. So it's one of many jobs. I mean, I just had a kid that just did a Netflix TV series and made $30,000 in 9 weeks in your senior year of high school in Nashville.
Wow.
You know, I've got a kid that's got her own reality show called That Little Girl Lola. So that's just one of many cool jobs that my mentees have done.
It's almost like you're a sports agent kind of idea.
I'm not an agent or a manager,
close to it.
But I do connect. I think I'm like a connector in that regard, because I connect them to agents.
Right.
I connect them to casting directors. But I also show them how they can also do their own outreach. So it's not, I don't promise work. That's just kind of the cherry on top, that if you happen to be in the program and I happen to see a casting notice, I will send it your way, and it's on you to actually submit it. I will help you through it. We'll go through your self-tapes. I'll tell you to film it again. And so that you have, you put your best foot forward, and then you hopefully book the job. I can't control who gets what, but I can only prepare them so that they can set themselves up for success.
So here's a question I have for you. Somebody that's watching this, maybe somebody that's aspires to be a dancer, or somebody that is like on the cusp of going professional, like what can you say if you were them now and what you learned now or in the past? Like what could you give them as like a thing a nugget, something to hang their hat on, something that they know is coming down the line, just some inspiration, like something that maybe you screwed up on, because I screw up on a lot of stuff, right? Like something that you can kind of give to someone that's aspiring, male, female, don't matter, that's aspiring to be a professional dancer.
Well, I will say my advice for a dancer and anyone in life is remember that success is just a series of failures and never quitting. Because this industry in dance is hard, in business is hard, and the ones that are successful are the ones that it's not about not failing. It's not about not falling to the ground. It's about how resilient are you to get back up and to try again. And even some of the greatest athletes, the greatest entrepreneurs, the greatest dancers in the world, if you look at any of their backstories, it usually comes with a lot of hardship and a lot of failures, but they never quit. And that's really the key to success. Another little pro tip is find somebody who's 10 steps ahead of you. I really believe in coaching and mentorship in any industry, to be quite honest. Find somebody that's already done the thing you want to do and learn from them, because you will not only save money, but you will save time. Because a lot of reasons why people do quit on anything is because it takes too much time to get there, and they get discouraged along the way. And then, the chatter of family and friends like, oh, maybe this thing isn't for you. Maybe you should go get a 9-to-5 job. Because I've even heard that from my own parents. And you have to be resilient to be successful in dance and in anything in life. And those that succeed are not always the most talented, but they're the ones that are willing to go through the storm and still keep pushing forward.
I agree. We had someone on the show that he does roofs, and he has a couple other businesses and stuff. And he was at a low point, and he was about to give up. And he said to himself, why would I give up a $75,000 a month job for a $75,000 a year job? Yeah. And that rang true with me. And I was like, yep, it's just, just a dip. I'll be okay.
Yeah. I mean, everyone goes through peaks and valleys in business as well. There's times where, as a business owner, you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from. It's not, I think dance prepared me for entrepreneurship because of that, because you deal with so much rejection in dance. You're told you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too tall, you're too short, you're too light, you're too dark, you're too this, you're too that. And it can be disheartening for a lot of people, and you can take that personal, but you got to learn to just shake it off and be like, okay, well, then this job wasn't for me. It's okay. On to the next. Just like if you do a sales call in business, okay, this one wasn't meant to be, on to the next. And you just keep trucking along, and eventually you'll get that yes. That you'll get a lot of no's, but eventually you'll get that yes. And when you look back and be like, thank goodness I kept going, because I was maybe that no is just one step closer to the next yes.
I agree. And I think the other thing, especially in your profession, is jealousy, or thinking the other person's better, or somebody saying that person's better. Obviously, there's coaches and different stuff in there, so and PR and a lot of other stuff going on. But I'm sure that's the same thing as well. It's a lot of people looking at another dancer and being like, oh, she's so much better, or he's so much better than I am. I can never be as good as that person. And that really ruined me when I was selling insurance, because I had someone that was selling way more insurance than me, and I wasn't happy with my $200 or $500 I was making every single week.
Well, I think everybody is guilty of the game of comparisonitis, if that's a word. But we can't be caught up in what everybody else is doing, because everyone's on their own path. You know, so you've got to put your blinders on, just like a horse in a race. Remember where you're headed, and just know that your time will come. And yes, I experienced that growing up. I was not, like I said, the best dancer in the room. There was other dancers that were far better than I, that I know people were like, oh, you're going to go far, you're going to do great things. And I was probably like that. Yeah, you're okay. It wasn't, I don't think anybody expected me to go to the extent that I did. So I think for a lot of people, it was a real shock for people in my hometown, where they were like, well, I beat her in competition. How did she get,
right?
How did she get that there? You know what I mean? So, but in some way, I think that fueled me in a way, because I felt like I always had to fight my way to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be booked on jobs. And because of that, it created that resilience. So I didn't always have it. It didn't come easy for me. So when I dealt with rejections, like, well, I've already been rejected a million times, so this is no big deal. Whereas I think some kids growing up that, let's say they win everything all the time and they're used to winning, when they get out in the real world of life and you're not always winning, that sometimes can really play on the ego. And I've seen that happen a lot to dancers, where they think they're all that in a bag of chips, and then they get out there and then, what do you mean I got cut? What do you mean I didn't get the job? But I'm better than that dancer right next to me. I can kick higher. I can flip. I can do this. And it sometimes has nothing to do with your talent. It could be as simple as the choreographer behind the table is best friends with the dancer right next to you. And that's just the reality. And the same thing is in business as well. When you're hiring, you may get, dozens of applications for a job. And then a friend calls you up and says, I'm looking at a job. You know what? I'm actually hiring right now. And you forget all the applicants. And you just hire the friend that you've known and you like and know and trust. And then the other people that are maybe even more qualified, you don't even look at them because you go with the person that you know.
Right.
That goes back to the context equals contracts.
That's true. If somebody was interested in getting in contact with you, wanted to know more about mentorship or more about your website and stuff like that, how would they find you?
Well, I'm the only Menina Fortunato out there. So my handle's Menina Fortunato. My website's meninafortunato.com. And then as far as my business, The Biz of Dance is my handle. Dance HST is for the Hollywood Summer Tour. And then dancehst.com is my website. And bizofdance.com is the other website. So it's not too difficult to find me. I'm online everywhere.
Awesome. Menina, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.